Okay, Monday, go ahead and get out your homework. So we had the section on probability and overlapping events. All right, so 1 through 6 all. Number 1 is 0.7. Number 2 is 7 over 8. Number 3 is 7 over 12. Number 4 is 0.9. Number 5 is 0.5. Number 6 is 0.2. Number 11 is 11 over 20. Number 12 is 7 over 10. Number 13 is 7 over 10. Number 14 is 4 over 5. All right, number 15, 16, 17, and 18 say, give me the probability and the odds. So number 15, the probability is 5 over 18. The odds are 13 to 5. Number 16, the probability is 2 over 9. And the odds are 7 to 2. Number 17, probability is 13 over 36. And the odds are 23 to 13. Number 18, the probability is 7 over 18, and the odds are 11 to 7. All right, count out how many you got wrong. Answer question 1 on the Google Forms. All right, here's the final. Here's the calendar. We're going to do 2 days of review. So we're going to take everything that we learned from January until now, break it up into 2 parts. So this is going to be chapters 6 through 8, and then on Wednesday we'll do 9 through 11. And I'm going to show you what the semester final is going to look like, an exact copy. The only thing is I will change the numbers for the questions, and probably a bit fewer than what I give you on the review. But the subjects that are on the review are exactly what will be on the test. So at the bottom of the Google Forms, you'll see Review Day 1 form, and then on Wednesday there'll be the second one. Make sure you keep these links or print out the test review. Remember, the answers are at the very bottom. So we're going to review today and Wednesday, and then you're going to take your test next Thursday. That's a long time between review and the test date. So this is really, really important that you guys don't blow off studying until the last day. Make sure you do a little bit each day. Don't do them all. Maybe do 5, 10 problems every day type thing, so it keeps it all fresh in your mind. If you cram for this, the last day, guaranteed, you just will run out of time. So do a little bit. Now, granted, like on Tuesday of next week, you should be studying for your Latin final. You should be spending a couple hours studying for your Latin final, but throw in 15, 20 minutes to study for both your math and your history as well. Okay. But you're going to be the captain of your own boat on this, so do well and be a good virtuous student and study for all of your finals. All right, so chapters 6 through 8. So quick notes about just this process. It will be a multiple choice test, just like the questions that you'll see on the review. Meaning, like, when you get to an answer and you get 3 as your answer, 3 better be either A, B, C, or D. If it's not, you've clearly made a mistake. Go back, identify your mistake. But don't just say, well, there's an answer that's 4 and that's really close to 3, and assume that is correct. I just said it. The review is exactly like the test. There might be there's probably 60 questions on the review, and there might only be like 50 questions or so on the test. But the subjects that I cover in the review are exactly like what is on the test. So please do the practice test. Do not just look it over. Do the test. That means the one today and the one on Wednesday. Do it, and I would encourage you to do it multiple times. For the questions that you get wrong, do those not just one more time and, oh, well, there was my mistake. Wait a day and then do that problem again to make sure that you identify, oh, this is where I could possibly make a mistake. You've got plenty of time to study for the test, plenty of time, but use your time wisely. Waiting until Wednesday night to study for this test would be a bad, bad way of studying for this test. So we'll go over the topics. Topic number 1, you will have questions where you have a triangle and they will give you 2 of the 3 interior angles. Notice on this one, we're told one angle is 15, one is 120, and the other one is angle B, and they'll ask you what's the third. You just need to remember this one fact, that the sum of all interior angles of any triangle is 180 degrees. So how do you solve this? We add the 2 that were given to the third, and we know that that must equal 180. So we simply use a little bit of algebra. Okay, simplify the left side first. 15 and 120 is 135. Okay, solve for B, so we're going to get rid of that 135, so subtract 135 from both sides, and you get to an answer, answer B. Sometimes it looks like they only give you one angle, but notice this is a right triangle, so that little square there indicates that that angle is 90 degrees. So in fact, it's the same problem. They've given you two angles, asking you to solve for the third. Same procedure. The sum of all interior angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So take the two that you're given. Now granted, right, there's only one labeled, but the other one has an indicator of its degrees. That square means 90 degrees. So 45 plus 90 is 135. Yes, this is the same problem as the previous one. Subtract 135 from both sides, and we get 45. Cool? All right, that's topic one. Pretty easy one. Topic number two, I will give you here's three questions, by the way, all together. I will give you a picture of a quadrilateral. You will have to tell me what is the quadrilateral. So if you've already forgotten this information, which you did learn in chapter 6 or 7, please have this in your notes. A quadrilateral is just simply a shape that has four sides made with four segments joined at their endpoints. If it is a rectangle, that means that not only does it have four sides, but you have four right angles. If it is a square, you have four right angles and four congruent sides. In other words, a rectangle with four congruent sides. If it is a rhombus, it just means four congruent sides. Four congruent sides. And lastly, if it's a trapezoid, it means you have two parallel sides. So let's see. Question 4 there are no marks on it. You'll see two types of marks. You will see tick marks, and you will see little diamonds. The little diamonds mean parallel. The tick marks mean congruent sides. One tick mark means one congruent side goes with any side that has one tick mark. Two tick marks means that that side is congruent to any side with two tick marks. So let's see what we got here. Number 4, well, there's no tick marks, no triangles, just four sides. That's quadrilateral. Notice all of these are quadrilaterals, by the way. Number 6 there, I got two triangles. That means that those two sides are parallel. The only shape that we have with just two parallel sides is a trapezoid. Number 5, opposite sides are congruent. We got four right angles. That means if all the sides were the same, and four right angles, that's a square, but this time I don't have all four sides the same, therefore it's a rectangle. Okay, so that's topic number 2. Pretty easy for there as well, too. When are we going to get to the hard stuff? All right, this might be hard for some of you. I will give you a proportion. That's two fractions that are equal, and ask you to solve for the unknown value. Notice there V is our unknown value. To solve proportions, you cross multiply. Upper left times lower right equals lower left times upper right. You make that cross. So 2 times V is equal to 7 times 7. You see where I'm getting those numbers from? 2 times V, that's the cross, equals 7 times 7. Okay? Upper left, lower right. Lower left, upper right. Now we just use some algebra. 7 times 7 is 49. V's on the left side. What's attached to it? 2. How's it attached? Multiplication. It means get rid of multiplication by division, so divide both sides by 2. All right, a little bit of long division here, but you guys can handle it. 49 divided by 2 is 24.5. Remember, the 2's would cancel. That cancel means they turn into 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times V is V. All right, let's do a bit more challenging. Let's do a bit more challenging one. Notice it's still two fractions that are equal to each other with one variable, B. We solve this by cross multiplying. Upper left times lower right, 10 times 7B equals lower left times upper right, 5 times 5. Make sure you understand where those numbers came from and where I placed them. 10 times 7B is 70B. 5 times 5 is 25. Variables on the left, what's attached to it? 70. How does it attach? Multiplication. How do you get rid of multiplication? Division. Divide both sides by 70. 70 divided by 70 is 1. That's what that red slash means. 1 times B is B. 25 divided by 70, ugh, we got to do a little bit of long division. Turns out it's 0.36. All right, that's topic 3, solving proportions. Make notes. Remember, you can have resource cards. Similar figures. Remember, these are two shapes that are not the same size, but are in similar proportions. So this is an application of proportions. How do you do this? You find the unknown side. Notice the unknown side there is X. It's on the small triangle. What side corresponds to it on the large triangle? That would be 48. So your fraction is X over 48. Now you pick any side on the small triangle. I always go with the smallest one, 3. What side corresponds with that? 24. So we had x over 48 equals 3 over 24. In other words, small over big equals small over big. Small triangle over big triangle equals small triangle over big triangle. You pick corresponding sides. Okay, now it's just a proportion, just like the previous one. X times 24 equals 48 times 3. We cross multiply. X times 24 equals 48 times 3. In other words, 24x equals 48 times 3. 48 times 3 is 144. Divide both sides by 24, cancel. 144 divided by 24 turns out is 6. One more? Sure. Here's a weird looking quadrilateral. Where's the variable? Oh, it's on the small trapezoid. I'm sorry, quadrilateral. These are not trapezoids. Okay, so x would go with 77. So x over 77. Now I always pick the smallest one. I go back to the triangle or the quadrilateral that had the variable. That was the small one. And I'm going to pick 1. I could pick 10. I could pick 8. I'm going to pick 1. You know, smaller numbers, the math is a little bit easier. 1 would correspond with 11 on the big one. So x over 77, notice corresponding sides, equals 1 over 11. All right, cross multiply. X times 11 equals 77 times 1. Oh, we like that. Now the math is easy. Divide both sides by 11. So therefore, x equals 7. Oh, left off the canceling. Cool? All right, that's topic 4. Topic 5, you might want to write some notes if you don't already have this committed to memory. We're going to do all those, decimals, percent, fraction to percent, all of those, okay? All right, decimal to a percent. Decimal to a percent. You move the decimal place 2 places to the right. Decimal to percent, 2 places to the right. So I take my given, I move it 2 places. 1, 2. That's just 3. Tack on a percent, 3%. Got it? We're not going to do many of these. In fact, we're going to do one of those. All right, percent to decimal. Different story. Percent to decimal. 2 places, not to the right, but to the left. Percent to decimal, 2 places to the left. So take your percent, move it 2 places. 1, 2, right? I need a 0, right? So move it 2 places. 1, 2. You see me moving it 2 places. So 0.06, right? That's answer A. There's 4 of these. All right. Fraction to a percent. Fraction to percent. Okay. Steps are, we got to first convert it to a decimal and then do a decimal to percent. So it's basically 2 things. Convert the fraction to a decimal, top divided by bottom, numerator divided by denominator, right? That's 7 divided by 15, not the other way around, right? 7 divided by 15 is, it's actually a repeating decimal, I'm rounding. And then move the decimal place 2 places to the right, 1, 2. So 46.7%. Okay, I said there were 4 of these. Decimal percent, percent to decimal, fraction to percent, and percent to fraction. So 4 of these. We only did 1 example of each. All right. To change a percent to a fraction, the numerator is the percent. So 92 is the numerator. Your denominator is always, for percents, always 100. That's the definition of percent. A number compared to 100, or a number out of 100. Okay, we do need to reduce this. Let's see, 4 goes into both of those. So 23 over 25, answer C. I only did 1 example of each. I don't need to do 20 of these. You might need some extra practice. If you'd like extra practice, email me. I'd love to give you a worksheet of 400, however many you think is necessary for you to have this sink into your brain. Okay, but if you certainly, I'm being funny there, but if you guys want practice, go ahead and send me an email. I'll give you as many as you want. All right, this particular one, some of you did this so easily. Others of you struggled at this. These are the ones that you struggle at, where there are not 2 points that are given. I'm going to calculate slope. Remember, slope is rise over run. But this is the one where I did not give you 2 points on the graph. You have to find 2 points. No, you don't use the ends of the arrows. Occasionally you do, but most of the time you don't. And it's not that you can always use the end of the arrows. You have to pick points that are on the blue line that cross lattice points. Lattice points are where those black little lines that make the squares come together. So you need to look at the blue line and find 2 points where lattice points come together. There's one right there. Where's another one? Another one is right there. You just can't pick two random points. You have to pick lattice points. Now we calculate the slope, rise over run. Remember, rise is how far does it go up or down? It's going up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, so 1/4. Okay? I'm only doing one example of this. It's always done this way. Remember, up is positive, down is negative. Right is positive, left is negative. But remember, I also give you vertical and horizontal lines. Well, let's see what happens. Here's a horizontal line. Pick 2 points for a rise over run. Remember, you have to pick lattice points, right? Well, there's one right there. There's one right there. It's where those black lines come together are called lattice points. Okay, so what's the rise? Well, it's not going up or down anything. So the rise is 0. And between those two red dots are 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 divided by 5 is 0. The slope of 0. The slope of all horizontal lines is 0. What about vertical lines? Pick 2 points. What's the rise? Let's see, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But it doesn't go left and right at all. You can never divide by 0. That is why the slope of vertical lines is undefined. Okay, there was one thing that we did this entire semester that was the most challenging, and it was, drumroll please, solving systems of equations. Okay, I won't give you 20 of these on the test, probably 2. But yes, you will have to do system of equations. Remember, to solve a system of equations, you graph each line, one at a time. Find out where they intersect. Where they intersect is the answer. Notice, oh, by the way, this one's already solved for you. Where do those two red lines intersect? They intersect at 4, 1. So 4, 1 is the answer. How do you find that? Well, you got to graph those two lines. Next to the number 28 there is the only thing that you'll be given. Yeah, there'll be a graph on the test, but remember, it's online, so you're going to need to use some graph paper to do this. So how do you graph this? Remember, we're going to do the table of values. We've got to do one for each equation, right? So we need 2 tables of pain. Choose very easy numbers, right, to plug in for x values. I'm going to always recommend -1, 0, 1, unless there is a fraction involved. See that second equation there, y equals -1/2 x plus 3. If there's a fraction involved, look at the denominator. The denominator is 2, so we're going to choose multiples of 2. So in other words, -2, 0, and 2. All right, let's see how this first one looks. So I don't care how you do your table, but you need to plug in x values and figure out y values. I'm going to show you the whole table with the answers. So this is the table, what it would look like for the first equation, y equals x minus 3. Notice there's no fractions for the x involved, so I'm going to plug in -1, 0, 1. Those are the easiest numbers. Then we take -1 and plug it in for x, just first equation, y equals x minus 3. So if x is -1, you'd get, look what I wrote there, y is equal to -1 minus 3. Do you see where I'm getting that from? I'm letting x be -1. And then I simply do the math. -1 minus 3 is -4. So when I threw in -1 for x, I get -4 for y. So my point is -1 comma 4. Notice I'm not going to put a dot there, but notice on that top line right there, right? I'm sorry, the bottom line right there, it's -1, -4 is on that red line. Toss in a 0 for x. So if y is equal to 0 minus 3, that's -3. So when I throw in a 0, I get -3. Look at 0, -3. That's that bottom line again. Last one, 1. Throw in a 1. 1 minus 3 is -2. So 1 comma -2, 1, -2. That would give me 3 points. I could extend that line. Okay? We have to do the second line. It ends up being the top one. Here's the table of pain for that one. So why did I pick -1, 0, 1? Because I got a fraction attached to x. When there's a fraction attached to x, look at the denominator, and those will be the numbers that you will use. If it was 1/3, you'd use -303. If it was -1/4, or +1/4, then you'd use -404. Okay? So we throw -2 in for x. -2 times -1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we get 1 plus 3, which is 4. So -2, 4. Throw in a 0. We like zeros. Just makes everything go away. You're left with 3. So 0, 3. Throw in a 2. -1 times 2 is -2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. -1 plus 3 is 2. So we get 2, 2. If you plug those values in, negative 2, 4, 0, 3, 2, 2, you get the top line. You get the top line. And if you extend those lines and you're neat about it, you find out that it intersects at 4, 1. Okay, so I think I gave you 4 of those to practice on. Go ahead and practice on those. If that's the only thing that gives you problems, right? I think you'll still do fine on the test. All right, make sure that the rest of the stuff you're solid on. Oh, by the way, we will see this, solving the system of equations, next year in Algebra 1, and we will do a lot of it. In fact, there's 3 different techniques. We'll learn all 3 techniques next year. So that's going to wrap it up for day 1 review. So that's chapters 6 through 8. If it's on this review, it is on the test. Like I said, so if I gave you 4 examples of system of equations, I'll probably only give you 1 or 2 on the test, that sort of thing. But rest assured, there will be at least 1 or 2 questions on it. If you have any questions, send me an email. If not, I'll see you guys on Wednesday.